What's up, everybody? I'm Scott,
I'm Jason.
and you are listening to Liquid Carnage. Are we 2 weeks into using your deeper voice?
Oh God, did I screw it up again? Dang it! Oh
No, you
man.
didn't screw it up. I'm just asking, like you used your big boy voice, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, I don't know. This one just came out big boy today. It just came out big boy.
Well, for good reason, man. Congratulations are in order.
Oh
You're
yeah,
an engaged man.
I am. I am. It was the for those of you who weren't there, happy 4th of July. But over the 4th of July weekend, while we were at the 4th of July party up in Kingman, Noreen had planned out. It looks like months ago to ask me to marry her, but because of COVID, it got pushed and pushed and pushed, and she decided that with all of the people who've known us for 10 years, who better to conduct the engagement request than in front of all of our friends. So at the pool party, she got down on one knee with a very beautiful ring and asked me to marry her. And
Yeah, it was a
with
very sweet
very little
moment.
hesitation, I said yes. So
Yeah, I mean the location was perfect. You're between two trash cans, um, so you were definitely in shock.
I was in
But
shock. I vomited in one,
yeah, and you peed a little
so
bit in the other one. But
I
after that,
peed a
you
little bit in the
immediately
other
said
one.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
No, no, it was a very sweet moment. It was 10 years coming. Probably 8 years. 8 years we've been waiting for this. After we knew after 2 years that you guys have been together, but it was a beautiful moment. It was a wild ride. So congratulations to you two. We can't wait to see what happens next.
Well, I appreciate it. I think for those of you who may or may not know, I mean, she was definitely not the one to want to get married anytime soon. I mean, she had been in a long marriage and had two great kids, and and it was kind of a painful experience for her. And so the idea of getting married again was not in her wheelhouse for 10 years. And I was fine with it because I was understanding and saying, I don't think a marriage really means what it used to mean. I mean, I'm as committed to you with or without a ring, and we'll be fine. And then she got down on one knee with a ring and asked me to marry her. And from that moment, I said, I told her, I know we talked about it. What it doesn't make a difference, but it kind of makes a little bit of a difference. It makes a
It
little
does.
bit
You,
of a
you, you
difference.
said you felt different.
Yeah, it did. It felt a lot different. And I know it was a big thing for her because we've even talked about it within the last year. Do you want to get married? No, we're fine. Why do we have to change anything if we're doing good? So for her to come up and do it was a total shock. I had no idea.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it was weird because she approached all of us kind of individuals like, hey, in 10 minutes, if you just kind of come around here, stop what you're doing. Like, we didn't think what it was. It's some kind of joke or some kind of birthday presentation for somebody in there. And then this was even better, man. This 4th of July is a very big holiday for you, and
Yes.
now for it will be for many reasons more forever.
Yeah, and like you eloquently said, Scott, it might be another 10 years before I'm actually married. So really,
Hey,
knowing our time frames, we'll probably be married about retirement age, and then we'll go from there.
that's fine. I mean, what that really means is that normally when you get it's the bride that gets proposed to. They get to go say yes to the dress and get the champagne and all that. So my question is do we get to go with you to say yes to the tuxedo and get to drink whiskey and smoke cigars?
Oh, I gotta admit, I never thought I'd be excited about it, but now I am excited about a bachelor party.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh my
I've
gosh,
never
I
been
am
to one.
totally excited. And you had talked about some ideas that you guys had for our brother Dean,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously, I don't know if I don't remember whether it was timing or something happened where you couldn't do it.
He
Um,
wouldn't he wouldn't agree to he couldn't get the time off because he thought the realtor picnic was more important than what we were trying to get him to go do because we're trying to throw him for a loop, so we didn't want him to know the reality of what we were doing.
Yeah, and so I mean, it was understandable, but now I mean, we might be able to carry that on again, and maybe we'll just throw a couple people into the mix, because since that time, now for my bachelor party, we can do something crazy.
Right,
Yeah.
right. We're 3 years older. We're more financially secure. Things are a little bit cheaper because of the Rona.
Well,
So
what I found really interesting is, you're right. Most of the time, it's the man proposing to the woman. But in
mhm.
today's world, and I don't know what your thoughts are, but I know, how about this? Every single relationship that I am involved with my family, Ricky, Sammy, myself, the woman makes more than the man does.
Mm-hmm.
So we're things are transitioning a lot in that realm, that it wasn't as much of a shock to me anymore that she decided that she was going to do it, because one, she had just said no so long that I just kind of didn't
Left alone,
I
yeah.
just didn't. I mean, it wasn't necessary to me, and so I just kind of left it alone. Never even thought that. I mean, I really thought we'd go the whole time without doing it. So, but for her to do it, I mean, in our relationship and in more relationships every day, the woman is the breadwinner. I mean, the woman makes
Yeah.
the more money than the man does. So, why not? Why not? Switch it around. My ring is beautiful. She did a great job on my ring, so I'm really happy, and I think that it shouldn't change anything, but it does kind of change a little bit. It's kind of like a statement to the
Yeah.
world that we're in a relationship that's a statement to the world, not just, oh yeah, they're the boyfriend and girlfriend that have been together for 25 years kind of deal.
Yeah, no, she liked so much. She liked it so much she put a ring on it.
Yeah,
And
so yeah, and believe me, there were plenty of times where I didn't think that she'd ever want to even stick with me. So I'll
hey,
thank
man,
my lucky stars that she signed it to a long-term contract.
love conquers all.
That's
We can
right.
all hope to be so lucky. There's still a few of us out there that are still single, that hope to maybe find a similar love story like you and Noreen have had.
Well, even without the engagement, which was awesome, and it made my 4th of July, it was obvious to both Noreen and I that and me that we needed to get back to a normalcy of seeing our friends, having the get together, eating food, drinking, playing games, laughing. It affected us more than we thought it was going to. Because we've just been so thrown off. And these days of summer, Scott, you remember, I mean, we would have get-togethers,
All the time.
all the time, and enjoy
Yeah.
the summer, enjoy the pool, and go places like go up to Williams for Kowalska Fest. And our summers were completely filled with these kind of activities. And this year, we didn't realize how starved we were for it.
Yeah, it's been weird the last few months just with everything. I think I don't know how it is down in Phoenix because I haven't been down there in a while, and I can tell you it's probably a different atmosphere up in Kingman because we're a smaller environment, we're a more isolated environment, so we probably have a few more privileges than you guys currently do because of our population base and our sickness rate. But I important um, that you find that normalcy as best you can. I think it's important that you have to get back to what makes you happy. You can't live your life in you know.
Well, and I guess I didn't realize how many of us in the United States, the summers are our playground. The summers are our
Oh yeah.
vacation time. They're the times where we spend time with families that we haven't seen in a while, or we go up to a place that's colder to get out of the heat, or we go to hotter to get out of the cold. And it
Yeah, it's a time where we're now in the dog days of summer. The stretch between the 4th of July through Labor Day, it's where the seasons is the hottest, and there's really not a lot to do, especially right now if there's no live sports, at least that you can watch publicly. There's no movies to go sit in an air conditioned movie theater to watch. It's frowned upon going to public pools, and it's really you can't go to a lot of restaurants or bars because they're shut down in Arizona again. So what is it you can do to keep yourself occupied and busy during a shutdown in Arizona in the middle of July?
Yeah, and here in Phoenix, it is definitely different because everything, like they closed down the Salt River, so people
Yeah.
can't float down the Salt River. That's a big thing that people do. Sports, obviously, with baseball. I mean, baseball's huge down here. We would have just gotten ready to start. We're about ready to start football season. So there's so many little things that we do just every day that have been shut down, that people, it's not just an
It messes with
isolation.
you.
It's just a disruption of everything that as Americans we just love.
Yeah, no, it messes with you though too. It does a number you psychologically where you can't go do the things you want to go do with the people you want to go do it with, because there's such a division over this whole thing right now too. It's either you're okay with taking that risk, or you're almost shaming people for risking their lives to do the things they want to go do.
And maybe that's
Yeah.
been what's aggravated the tensions, is that disruption of what we normally can use to, like, for sports, for example. We can
Mhm.
use sports in a normal environment to kind of cool our nerves and say, I'm really stressed out, but I'm going to a sports event, or I'm going to do something that brings a lot of joy to my life. So I'm not going to get
Mhm.
aggravated as easily, or I'm not going to get aggravated as quickly. But we're not having those things. And so people's emotions are frayed. They
Oh
are
yeah.
thrown apart. And I also think about,
We're losing those major bonding points
yeah,
that would normally help build bridges. They're not there right now, and so it's escalating tensions that don't need to be escalated.
how many people go to see grandparents that they haven't seen all year? Every year as
Uh-huh.
they get older, we go to see our grandparents or maybe our great grandparents, and we're not able to do that. And it is, maybe that's why it's the stresses, the stresses that are
It might
building
be.
up.
It might very well be. It's there's no outlets right now, or there's very limited outlets, and I think that's what people are starting to recognize. It's that they're not quite sure how to handle this, because now we're for March, April, May, June. We're 5 months into this thing, and America's still on fire. We're not getting better. We're actually getting worse. And I don't know if you read the news today, but Mongolia had to shut down because the bubonic plague erupted out there.
Oh gosh. Wow. Yeah, no, I didn't read that,
So
but wow.
China's 2 for 2 for pandemics, and if you're going to go, apparently 2020 is the year you're going to do it. So um, I think people are just tired, man. They're exasperated, and I think that's why you're seeing more and more people just not fucking care anymore.
Yeah, and
You
maybe you're
know?
right. Maybe they're just saying, look, I would much rather just get sick and hope for the best than keep disrupting my life to the point where my friends are losing the businesses that they run, or they're losing their jobs, or we're not seeing our family, we're not seeing our friends, we're not. Maybe it's at that point that, have you ever heard of this, of the statement that there's a difference between a quality and quantity of life?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Absolutely.
there's people that, I'd rather live higher quality of life than longer quantity of life. My dad was one of these
Mm-hmm.
people that, he got to a point and he said, look, I'm not going to get any better, so what is the point? What is the point of trying to fight this and prolong this when it is what it is? And maybe people are just gotten to that point. It's like, I've now seen what 5 months of a diminished quality of my life is. It's not worth it to me. I'd rather
Yeah.
I'd rather live, and if that means I get sick, and hopefully, the majority of people won't die, but some people are dying. I mean, maybe that's where people are at right now.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it really, you really look at, the location of the people, because it's very different, I'm sure, in the urban locations versus the more rural locations, because they're all hotspots. Phoenix, you guys have, what, on average 3,000 new cases a day.
Yeah, it's like 3,500 now.
See, that's insane. And Kingman, we're averaging less than 10. The county is getting upwards toward 100, but Kingman, knock on wood, is staying relatively low, and that won't stay that way forever. But if people are doing their jobs and doing it right, we have most everything open here. Very limited things are actually closed here. The things that are closed, it's really not that big of a deal. There's a few businesses that we'd like to see open again, but the governor, I'm still not sure a week later about his logic for why he decided to close gyms and only certain bars. But his wife owns a salon, so it's clearly that's why the salons weren't closed this time.
Yeah, we had
And
talked
it's
about that in Kingman. I mean, we went to a salon right before we came up, and it was packed in there.
Mhm.
It was absolutely packed. There were women. I mean, now everyone was wearing masks, so I'll give them that. Everyone had a mask on, and all the technicians had little plexiglass in front of their faces, but it was pretty crowded in there. I mean, I felt like, that was another thing I was going to mention to you too. There was a couple times where we went to a restaurant or something, and I felt really jitterish when we were up in Kingman this last time. But
Mm-hmm.
I was using my optics for what if I were to see that in Phoenix, we would have
Mm-hmm.
left that a restaurant. right?
Yeah.
So it is also, like you said, Kingman, it's not as big of a rush to, there's not as big of an issue as there is in maybe the big cities.
Yeah. I mean, hell, we're recording this on Monday. We went to lunch at the Tax Shed yesterday, a local bar/restaurant, and it was dead when we were in there, so it was no big deal. But even when we've been in there when it's packed over the last couple of weeks, it's still not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
You stay 6 feet away from everybody if you can, and just mind your business. I mean, if people are just respectful about space and wash your hands, you're gonna be okay. And if you're really that freaked out at this point, don't leave your house, and don't shame people for living their life the way they want to live it.
Yeah.
And I get I get aggravated with what Ducey's doing, our governor, just because I understand the masks, and I'm sure EP Tom is going to get old granola on us over this, but demanding we do this in July instead of doing this right away doesn't really make a difference. I mean, what's out there is what's out there. We're going to flatten the curve at some point, one way or the other. So I don't fundamentally have a hard time understanding why. I get it if you can't be in 6 feet of other people and have your distance. I understand, man. Wear the mask. My employer makes me wear a mask, so if I want to get paid, I got to do it. I don't like it, but it is what it is.
Why do you think why do you think there is that visceral response? Like, if you are pro-mask, then you get angry at people that don't wear it, and if you are anti-mask, you get angry at people for wearing them.
I don't think you get angry at people for wearing them. There's all those things floating on the internet, like what the transfer rate is, like if I'm wearing a mask and you're not, versus we're not wearing it, neither of us are wearing a mask, versus we're both wearing masks. And okay, I get that. You can find whatever information you want on the internet, and you can find three articles to discredit the article you read. So it really depends what side of science you want to be on. And I look at it as demanding we wear masks now, this far into it, isn't stopping the problem. That would have slowed down and possibly stopped it back in March. Maybe April. But to wait this long and hem and haw over it, you know what? You've lost the people. You've literally lost your state. Nobody wants to do what he's saying anymore because he can't make a decision. The decision he does make, he waffles on it. And I think that's part of the problem.
Well, and I think part of the problem is that, I mean, we've been talking now about how dangerous this is for 5 months, and there are people that just don't think it's that dangerous.
Yeah. Well,
when I saw those videos of the kids at the bars, shoulder to shoulder, packed in a bar, they don't care. They don't adhere to it. They don't care about it. They don't think it means anything to them. So, of course, they're not going to take it seriously because they don't believe it's real.
Was it you that was telling me about the party they had in Arkansas where they had the one infected person and they put money in the pool and whoever got it first won it?
Yeah, in Arkansas, they had a party where they did that, yeah.
I'll be the first one to say kids are dumb, man. You wouldn't catch me doing that, but we had a 4th of July gathering over the weekend, and everyone there for the majority was people that we've been around on a regular basis. So it's you have to understand you can't just live in a little bubble. You have to go out there and just be smart about it. And don't put yourself in any undue risk. And if you don't feel good, stay home. It's bottom line. If you don't feel good, stay home.
Would you fly on a plane right now?
No.
You wouldn't fly on a plane now?
No. I mean, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough,
Because we were talking about maybe trying to do something, just like go to Idaho or do something, but everything that we picked had to be within 8 to 10 hours of drive because we didn't feel comfortable flying on an airplane. Now it seems ridiculous, right? I mean, the airlines are making us wear masks and they're trying to keep social distancing as much as they can, so maybe it shouldn't be a big deal, but we were hesitant about flying.
Yeah.
So how do you overcome those fears? I mean, those are real fears, and how people decide, well, I'm going to outweigh the fear of flying to, I need to see my grandparents who I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, and that's I'm sure on a case by case basis, and I think the hardest part for that is, how bad do you really need to fly? What are you flying for? Is it life or death? If I'm across the country and something happens and I have to come home on an emergency, I'm gonna have to suck it up and do it. But if I get home, because there's Arizona right now, a lot of states are putting us on 2-week quarantine when we come back from, or when we go to their places, because how bad everything is right here.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. And we're talking
So,
about the dog days of summer, but what's going to happen when we get into Thanksgiving and Christmas? If this is still banning travel and people don't want to go anywhere, and I mean, it's going to get real pretty soon if we don't come up with an overall plan of what's going to happen. Either people are just going to totally disregard it and say, I don't care anymore, or there's going to be a lot of upset people around the holidays, Christmas and Thanksgiving.
yeah, and I think there's gonna be a lot of upset people, because once you mix flu season into this too, on top of everything, it's gonna get unreal. It's gonna get ugly. I can tell you from a medical perspective, people are already freaking out over the idea of having to decipher if it's the flu or if it's the Rona, and that's gonna be, it's gonna put a lot of our workforce out for 2 weeks at a time while they try to battle either the flu or this, if not both. So you're looking at potentially losing a lot of your workforce through a very important time of the season, because of health concerns.
Well, and Arizona, enacted that crisis care plan
Mm-hmm.
for the hospitals where because of the shortage of beds, they're now allowed to make determinations on who they're going to, take in and who they're not. And what I found amazing was one of the ideas, or one of the criteria for crisis care, is if someone is deemed to have a year or less to live, then they're moved down in priority.
Yeah,
And you know what I mean? Like that's kind of scary, man. That's a little scary to me, but
that's a little like playing God, and I don't like that. And I clearly understand why the thought process behind it, but just because you can doesn't mean you should. And we're not out of this by any means, as a country, as a world. We probably never will be. We'll have to find a way to live and adapt with it. But it's it's going to be an interesting ride for the next few months, and people are going to bitch and moan about summer vacation and travel and whatever else, and they're going to do what they're going to do. But realistically, basketball, baseball, and hockey all start at the end of July. They all start at the end of July, and that's the hope that a lot of us are holding on to. Football's supposed to start too.
Something to get us at least a semblance of this is our normalcy. Life.
Yeah, and if we can't get that off the ground because of all this, well, that might send the world into a deeper depression, mentally as a collective. And that's a little unnerving too, because the longer we go without the things that distract us, and the media just pumps fear into us, what's going to be like what kind of world are we going to turn into?
One thing that I am seeing a lot of, and I don't know if you're seeing it on TV, but if this is like the best time to buy a brand new car. They're giving the free financing. They're giving like thousands of dollars off the cars. They are giving you free massage. I mean, they're giving you everything. So if the positive is that you can find some smoking deals on some stuff like cars. I'm sure if you wanted to find some Airbnbs out there, they're probably giving you a great discounted rate.
Yeah, well, let's also remember that this is also the end of the year. New models are coming out for cars too, so those deals will be there regardless. Right now, you just might get a little bit sweeter deal.
They're not offering 0% financing for 6 years. They don't do that in normal times.
Well, that's true. I mean, maybe desperate times call for desperate measures.
One of Noreen's friends has a friend who's kind of wealthy, and they were saying that the friend, basically that's what all the rich people are doing, is they're buying like cars because it's so cheap, basically, to get these cars and get the financing in place, that one of their friends actually bought 7 luxury cars, a Mercedes, a Porsche. I mean, all these cars, because it's like, I'm getting this great financing, that why not? I'm thinking, wow, see, everyone's got to find a way to make something good out of the coronavirus.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you can afford 7 luxury cars, money is really not an issue for you anyways.
True.
I guess good for you.
Yeah.
I don't know how to handle that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to buy some Kias, but that's not the same level.
So what are you going to do to make the summer go better? The end of the dog days of summer go better, Scott? What's one thing you're going to try to focus on to get you through?
I'm gonna just do what I can. We have a house at the Williams, so I'm gonna try to use that more often. And our social circles all talk that we need to make a better effort of spending time together. Like, we understand the risks, but we also know that we're proactive about where we go and how we handle things. So, most of us feel pretty comfortable doing things with each other. If we have to take separate cars, fine, whatever. Vegas is still open, or it's reopening, so there's a couple museums I like to go see. If I have to wear a mask through that, fine, whatever. Just the entertainment. There's a pool I can use, a couple pools, so we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I'm going to try to do is just, keep in mind that this too shall pass, and try to find those ways to sit out the pool more. We've got a nice pool that's hot, hot weather. So I was at the pool all week or all day on the 4th of July, and I only had to put on sunscreen like once. My base tan is looking good. I'm doing it.
Man, you got that engaged man glow. You got that ring.
I had a little booze in me. It was
you felt no pain, brother.
I was feeling really good.
Yeah.
But I think overall, also just being around friends and feeling that camaraderie, doing it safely, but doing it meant a lot. It meant more than I had anticipated. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, we hope you guys can come up and do it more. We'd like to come down there too, sooner than later. It's just those infection rates down there do get a little scary.
Yeah.
Even though, but we'll figure it out. There's a
scary part is the highest numbers in that 30 to 44 age group,
which is most of us.
It's our wheelhouse. Yeah. I mean, it's our wheelhouse of people, but that being said, there's still a lot of things to do. There's a lot of things to do. You just have to find new things to do. Like, maybe it's go do outside activities. Like, one of the things that Noreen wanted to do was go to downtown where they have those painted murals. Downtown Phoenix. It's an outside activity. You don't have to you can social distance. So, we're going to try to do it. I don't want to disrupt my summer so bad that I say, man, 2020 was a loss. Just a flat out loss. I just don't want to do it.
We could also come down to the Kurtzworth Mansion in North Phoenix and hang out in the pool.
Oh, hell
barbecue.
Yeah.
Do those things. We don't even have to leave the house, man. We could just create our own vibe for the weekend.
And any visitors are on the opposite side of the house. Their bedroom's on the opposite side, so they have social distancing.
See, and that's what you did this week when you stayed with me. You guys had your own space. It was perfect.
It was awesome. It was best.
Yeah. So what are you going to do the rest of your summer? Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Liquid Carnage. If you want to give our EP Tom some tips to enjoy the rest of his summer and what I'm sure is an opening up Colorado, hit him up on Twitter and Instagram, all at Liquid_EP.
Oh, man. Another day. We're doing it, baby.
We're doing it, baby. We are doing it. Another day, another dollar, my friend.
That's right.
That being said, Jason, why don't you take us home, brother?
Hey, thanks for listening, everyone. We love you. Thank you for listening. That was Scott. I am Jason. And as always, if you never know quite what to say, just have yourself some Liquid Carnage.